So the next thing I want to go into, I'm going to start like actually diving into the ESS and where stuff is and how to view things. And the first thing I want to do is the organization information and how you guys can view that, and what that looks like, and so forth. So I'm going to come up here to my little hamburger menu. And under organization information, I have a couple different options. So I first off, I'm going to go to, I'll start with the organization profile. And so when I come here, what this does is if I have with my role, I'm able to like, these are not just read only, I'm able to come here and update information. But if I wanted to update the organization's profile, so that would be your, as an employer, we kind of refer to you as an organization. So, your primary phone number, secondary phone number, if you wanted to add a mobile phone number for the organization, primary email, secondary email, and website. The address that gets updated somewhere else. So I'll be touching on that in a second, but this is where you can update and view that information. So just wanted to show that really quickly. The next one, though, I want to talk about, we'll go back up to our hamburger menu, and then I'm going to go down to the organization details. And so when I click on that, it takes me to this maintenance screen where, if you'll notice, this is just like read only, but I can view this information. Um, that TFFR has on file for the organization. If something were to need to be updated, that's where you would contact TFFR and let them know, like, our primary contact has changed. We need to update that. So you would have to contact them for them to update this because, as you can see, you can't do that from here. But with that, let's see. We have it broken down into different sections. So the first one is profile. We have the organization name. You can see the organization code and then the status of the organization. So I'm in Jamestown School. I got the organization code attached to that and the activity. Then we have the communication information. So if there was a website, maybe Jamestown School has a website that they want associated with it, that information could go here. We have the primary phone number, email. We have the primary contact information, and then the address for the organization. Then I'm going to scroll down and we have the reporting organization details and the parent organization details. So what this means when we refer to like reporting and parent organization, the way it's set up in Neospin and the way our system works is that, we have it set up so that like we're working with like if Jamestown School was part of maybe a school district and that school district was the one that paid out the contributions and did all that stuff. I'm thinking of I used to work for Minneapolis Public Schools. I used to work for a specific middle school, but it was Minneapolis Public Schools that like paid my, gave me my money. So they would be the parent slash reporting organization, because I kind of think of it as a pyramid where it funnels up to them and they're the ones that are on top paying it out to their employees. So my middle school would be like the child organization of Minneapolis public school system. So that's a very simple way to think of it. We have it set up like this, but the way it's looking is Jamestown School is also, it's not just the school, but it's also the reporting one. They're the ones responsible for paying out to their employees. So then I'm going to come down here and we have another panel here for other details. So
Hey,
we can, oh, yeah,
hey, Christian, this is
yeah,
Santosh. I see a
okay,
message. I see a message in the chat from
okay.
someone. Oh, okay, I think Jeff is talking with them. So,
Mhm.
I mean, do you want to talk anything about it, Jeff? If not, we can continue.
You can continue. I'll try to work
Oh,
on this on the side.
perfect.
Okay,
Thank you. Sorry about that.
yeah, I'm going to try to get the chat up as well so I can see. Okay. So, okay, other details. So in this panel, and I kind of want to talk about this, I'm just going to go over this at a high level because there's basically this comes back to the many different ways we can get to the same screen. So I'll be going through this by going and clicking here for these things. But we have the organization type and organization subtype. So if you want to see what kind of organization this is, you can come down here and it's showing you that it's an employer and the subtype is local school. So obviously, if it was an employer or a school district, we could see that here or another different type of subtype. That information is located here. The next tab, I can click on that, and it's going to show me the address for the organization. And so this, let's see, how was I going to say that? When I talk about addresses, we only have one here, but if like they were to move, you would see the like record history of all the different addresses associated with this organization. So like, I'm thinking of there again, I'm thinking of my Minneapolis Public Schools. 807 was the main district, but then they sold that and they moved to a different location. So if that was the case, we would see the 807 here and with an end date of when that address ended, and then the new address would be listed underneath. And so if you wanted to view this in more detail, you can select the record and click the open button. If you wanted to create a new address, you could click this button. Like I said, I'm going to go over it when I go through the menu. It's going to take me to the same screen as when I go through the menu. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. We'll look at addresses in more detail. Same with the next one I'm going to click on is the contacts. So when I talk about organization contacts, this is basically anybody who's associated, who has been given permission to come in to the employer portal and, work in it and have access to it. You can see here in this grid is all the ones that are listed for this organization. So we have, the first name 94. And then we can see the different roles that have been assigned to them. So they're the primary contact, the contribution reporting, the finance, human resources. Basically, I gave this person access to everything. This is my super user kind of thing. We can see their address, email, phone number, the status, and the contact title. And so you can see who all is been created for the organization contact and what their role is. Now, if you wanted to see more information, just like with the address, you could just click here, select this, click the open button. If you have the role and the ability, you will be able to see this button where you can create the new contact. I don't believe everyone has access to this, but if you did, you can create a new contact by clicking this button. So the next one I want to show and talk about is the benefit programs. So if I click on that, you can see all the different benefit programs that are associated with this organization. And then you can see their status here and then the different tiers. So just want to make sure. Okay, so in order to view and see more information about that, you can select that and click the open button. And then that takes you to the organization benefit program maintenance screen, where, as you can see, this is read only, but this is where you can view more information concerning that benefit program. You can see when the benefit program, the start date, the tier start date, if there was an end date, and so forth. You can find that information here. And then to click back. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention this to you guys when I was going over how everything's set up. If you'll notice, I call this the breadcrumb trail. Or I've also heard it referred to as the Domino's Pizza Tracker. That was my old boss that used to refer to it as that. But as you're kind of like working through the system kind of just remembers the screens. And this is just another way for you guys to navigate around. As you saw, I just clicked the X and it took me back to the previous screen. But if I wanted to, I could just use these arrows as well to navigate back and forth between the different screens as I open them up. Okay, another thing. The other one is banks. So if this is where any banks that are on file with the organization, you will find that information here. You can see it down in the grid. We have a record of the Bank of America. The status is active. If I wanted to open it up, I can click on the select button, open it up, view that information here. If I needed to display the account number, I would click on this button and I could view that account number associated with that bank. Now, obviously, this all will be dependent on my role. I believe if you don't have the finance role, you probably don't have access to display the account number and change certain things. Like right now, I can change it from active to inactive. So, but with that said, I'm just going to go back. And just like before with the other ones, I have this create new bank. If I needed to, I could click on that. I could enter in a bank routing number. I could enter in the account type of checking or savings, enter in the account number as well there, or I'm sorry, this was account type. I misspoke. And then confirm the account number. So as you can see, I'll know what information to put in because I have this little red asterisk here that is telling me that these are required fields. So I for sure need to enter this. Otherwise, I will get a red error. So if I try to click save, you can see I will get this error here saying you need these items. These are required. I don't need the bank alias name, but if you want to put one in there, you can, but it's not required. So. Okay, last but not least, we have the employer model election details. I'm going to come back to this at the end and go into this in more detail. But this is where when it's that time of year and you need to make the employer model election, this is where, one, you can view that information and also make the elections for the next fiscal year. And I will be showing that in more detail towards the end of our training. So, okay, that is the organization detail screen. And then let's see. So the next thing I want to talk about is I'm going to go to the organization contact screen. Click that. And so this is just that other way of getting there. So we saw it in the other details panel with, under the organization details. But like, if you're one of those people who's like less clicks and immediately you just want to look at organization contacts, you don't have to go into the detail screen. You can just go into the menu here and select organization contacts, and it opens up the organization contact maintenance screen. And it'll allow you to view this information. If you need to update, maybe you need to add something, like this person just has reporting organization view. If I wanted to maybe give them another role, or maybe I need to update their email address, whatever it may be, you can come in here and either click on this hyperlink, could select the record and open it. I like to click on hyperlinks, so I did it that way. What it does is then it opens up the organization contact maintenance for that particular contact person. So this is where you can view that information. Maybe I want to update their primary email and just say it's fake@fake.com. Maybe I want to add a secondary email. Oops, that's not an email. I'll add a mobile number. And then once I've done that, I can click the save button. So then I can update that information. Let's see. I also want to show you guys how you can create one. So I'm going to go back. And so if you need to create a new one from scratch, we can click this create new contact button. And so when I do that, it opens up that same screen, but now we're in a new mode. So the way I know I'm in new mode is like, if you notice, this is kind of grayed out. So that tells me whenever you kind of see a screen that looks grayed out like this, that you're in new mode and you're creating a new record for something. So in the contact details panel, I have the red asterisks, and so that's the information that I need to enter. So I have a status, so I want to make this person active. Their first name is going to be Jane, last name Smith. Oh, does somebody have a question? Okay. And then the gender, I'll put female. And the thing is like when you're filling this information out, the system is smart enough to tell you what you need. And if you don't put something in, it'll give you an error and say, I need that. So never worry. Like to me, I think of those when I showed that one thing before with when we were doing the bank, I don't consider that a bad thing to have those like red error messages. I actually think of them as guides sometimes because it's like, oh, I forgot to put this in. I'll go put that in now. Okay, with that said, I can click the save button. And when I did that, it populated some stuff for me. So if you noticed, I got this new section. I have the contact rules section where this is going to allow me to select what type of contact rule this person has. So I've been talking about how, this will determine what they're able to view within the employer service, the ESS, and what they're able to do within here. There's in the handbook, there's an actual appendix with like what you can view and what you can modify. I suggest using that because, yeah, for me, I can't remember who can view what and do what. I mean, it's pretty, finance makes sense for like invoices and making payments and viewing that stuff. So some of it is kind of what's the word I'm using? Intuitive, might be intuitive, but just to make sure you know everything, we've put an appendix in there just so you can like use that as a reference guide. But with that said, I'm just going to
Hey,
click on it.
Kristen,
Yeah.
just really quick, someone was asking a question about, oh, wait a minute. I thought I saw a question on there about if you wanted to, if they should be
If we
doing
can-
this along with you. That was the
Mhm.
question.
Yeah.
How would you want them to
Shannon
work
had
through
a
stuff?
question.
Yeah, I usually they don't necessarily need to be doing this along with me. It might be easier for them to just view it and, watch for now and then go and play afterwards, right? But it's a preference. Some people like to do this as they're working. Is that the question you're asking, or did I not understand it
I
correctly?
think she was wondering, can they go ahead and fill in on this test site? Is that okay to be kind of playing around with it?
So I'm gonna hesitate. Oh, that is a good question. So since I'm doing this, certain ones would be okay, but until I'm done with my demo, they might mess up some of my demo data. So it might be easier so they might not want to, you can fill it in and play around, but maybe not hit save until after I'm done, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just so like I don't get errors and stuff. So I'd appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, good question. Okay, so the next thing we have is like I filled in that contact role, but then we come down here and we have the communication preference. And so when I hit save on the contact details, it made this new button active. And so now I can come in here and click on this new button. And what that does is it populates the communication preference pop-up window, and then this allows me to set up how this contact prefers to be how they want to be contacted. So we have an option for mailing and then the delivery method. So do they want it via email, postal mail, or web self-service? And what the web self-service means is those like message notifications or basically via the ESS. So I'm just going to say postal mail for now. And when I did that, it populated this address, and it says email because if I had selected email, it would populate it as well. But then it populates the information that's on file for this organization contact. So since I selected email here, it populates that, email address that we have on file. If I go back and select postal mail, it'll populate the address that's on file for this organization. And so when I do that, it populates the start date as well. So once that information is entered, I can click finish. And when I do that, it populates the information within the grid. So you can view that. If you needed to edit it, you can come in, click the edit button, it would open it up again, and you can be like, oh, I meant to say email, and then update it. So that is an organization contact. Does anyone have any questions about that?
So Kristen, if they
Yeah.
have like somebody leave, like if a business
Mhm.
manager leaves and they get a new one, or if they have a new superintendent, they have to add them. Would they delete one and then add a brand new one, or can they edit the one that's in there with just a new name?
Yeah, so with this one, like this one's the primary contact. We'll pretend that's the business manager. And well, it actually is because it has the contact. I would come in just to keep the records on file of everyone who's had access. I would come in and just make them inactive and then save that and then create that new primary contact so that, I don't believe you can, as you can see here, there's no way to delete the contact once it's created. The system likes to keep that. We like to keep records of everyone who's been in here, kind of. That's kind of the way I think of it. Same with addresses. When you see addresses, we keep every address record on file. Did that answer?
Yep.
Okay.
They have a lot of changes in the school, so just wondering how they would do that.
Oh
Thank you.
gosh. Yes, I've worked in the school. I know. We move around a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh God, I moved around so much. Anyway, one day I was here, the next I was there. But yeah, so I understand that. So yes, that would be how you would do it. You just make them inactive and then create a new one. So thank you for asking that question.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So yes. So the next thing, so that's organization contacts. You'll come in here for your little hamburger menu. And like the next thing I want to talk about is the postal addresses. So just like with when I was talking about the contact and I was kind of showing it under that organization details. But if you just want to, if you need to update an address or you just need to view the address, whatever it may be, you can come in here and go straight here. You can view, as you can see, we have an address here. It'll allow me to enter a new address. We can see the view address here. If I needed to create a new one, I'll click this. If I needed to open it up, I could click on this to open it. So that takes me here and I can just view that information. So I'm gonna go back. Doot, doot. Oh wait, I did it the wrong way. I went back the wrong way, you guys. Okay. So now I'm back in here. So if I needed to like let's say this one, this is like I was using that example of my old district where they needed money, so they sold the nice building of 807 to get some money. Fun facts. But so like if that happens, oh wait, I can't create the end date here. So I'm gonna go previous. Keep doing that. Okay, so I will create a new address here. And so as I'm creating this address, I kind of want to give a little like disclaimer. I'm in my training region and my training region is not set up for, I'm going to talk about this suggested address, but I can't demo it. So I'll just talk to it. You guys will have it. When you guys are testing, I think it's set up, but either way, if it isn't, it'll be set up when you guys go live. It's a nice feature and I'll talk about it. But basically, I'll come down here, I'll fill in the address, the city, the county. I don't know your guys' county, so I'm going to make something up. And then I'm going to select the state and then enter in the zip code. But now if you notice, I'm putting in stuff. This is obviously not a real address. So let's pretend like you were to give somebody actually gave you this fake address. You'll go over here and you'll click this get suggestion button. And so what this does is this is hooked up with like the USPS, so United States Postal Service. And so what it does is like every address that's on file with the post office or postal service will like basically it validates it and goes, yep, that's a real address. And it'll show the different suggestions right here. And you'll be able to select the one you want to use and then click the use selected address. What that does is when you do that, this USPS validated checkbox gets checked so that, one, it's been validated, but also TFFR, when this gets updated in the LOB, it'll be updated in their records as well, and it'll say that this has been validated, so that this is a valid address. Right now, this is a fake address, and I'm able to go forward because it's not set up, but the system would not like me if I tried to put in a fake address. It would be like, no, you're not legit right now. So, but luckily I can do a fake address. So once I save that, we have that address has been added. We have an address end date. If I needed to end it, I could end it here, by putting in like this will end in a year or so. Maybe it's a temporary, maybe you're moving there for only a year. I don't know, but we have the ability to end it. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. So that's how you can add an address if needed. So the next thing I want to show is if you need to look up a child organization search. So when I was kind of talking about that, I guess for lack of a better word, I think of it as a pyramid. But so if you want to see, like if you are a school district and you have all these different schools underneath you, if that's how you organize it, you could look up and search it via here to see all the different, we call them child organizations that are under that parent organization. So if I search, obviously Jamestown School is the employer and it's the reporting. So that's all we have right there. It's basically the parent and the child. So, but I can view that information here. And I kind of wanted to show you guys that so that if you guys are set up that way, you could view that information and find them and you would click on it. Like, so if I wanted to open it up and view that, it takes me to that organization details screen for that organization or school in this case.